AZUBU finds themselves down a game here in the GSTL, and StarTale. Avenge looked really strong game number 1, but he has to face now Symbol, who's actually chosen such a strange map, Keldor, for this. He's chosen Hyundai Beach. He wants to play a pretty straight-up 1v1 map here, it looks like.
That's going to be really interesting to see him perform here. The choice to send Symbol out early is something that we didn't really expect this soon, but at the same time, Symbol is a really good choice here, not to send him out last this time, just because we have other players like Sleep that prepared against Terran for a long time now, since in the individual league in his group, Sleep was only facing Terran, so it makes sense to use him later on against someone like Bomber. And Symbol, even though he doesn't have a very impressive record against Protoss in general, he defeated Avenge 3 times just in the past few weeks. So that gives him definitely an edge over his opponent, and he knows Avenge style, so something that works in his favor here. But as we already said earlier, if Symbol goes down, that's usually the indicator of AZUBU being in a lot of trouble.
Yeah. There's very few team matches, if any, where AZUBU has lost and AZUBU has won the team match. I don't think there's any of those. So he really is the backbone, the anchor of the team. And if he's coming out, AZUBU usually feels like they have to take care of somebody. They're having a problem. And right now that problem is Avenge. Hyundai is almost a weirder choice to me than picking out Symbol here, because Symbol, choosing him here against Avenge makes a lot of sense to me. Hyundai, on the other hand, is kind of a strange map, so I'm really looking forward to see exactly what Symbol has planned here. If he just plays straight up on the map, I think it could be kind of hard for him.
Yeah, I haven't actually seen any games played. I mean, nobody has on Hyundai, but I'm really interested to see how the map is going to work. I always hated Guangali Beach. I feel like it was a really silly map, and I hope that Hyundai, in terms of like mechanics and play mechanics, is better. But I'm a little bit afraid that it's also just like a fun map.
Yeah, I actually agree with you here. Only time will tell, and Symbol better have a big plan here, because this map is pretty tough for Zerg. Just looking at it, I've looked at it several times, and it's going to be tough to play the late game.
So we are going into game number 2, ladies and gentlemen. Avenge in his second match has to face another Zerg player. This time for AZUBU, it is a Symbol, usually the last man standing for the team, but today he comes out second. Let's see what he can do against Avenge here, an opponent that he defeated several times in the past few weeks already. Can he do it again today? We're gonna find out here. The GSTL Season 2 2013. All involved.
That fuel source fresh from the core. Right mind thinking strong. You like iodine. With blueprint, these huge quotes that my mind designed.
And starting to the top right of the map, we have the Protoss player for Team StarTale. It is
StarTale, Avenge.
Avenge taking game number 1 against the same race of the Zerg. And of course he's up against the AZUBU Zerg over here. The leader of the team, generally speaking, he is
AZUBU Symbol.
Top tier player, doing very well in the Premier League in Korea every season. A very underrated player, I feel, as well, even still.
Avenge, as mentioned before, has faced Symbol a couple of times just recently, and that was back in July, where he faced him twice, and it was a best of 3 and a best of 1. Both were won by Symbol. The Zerg player took the matches, and that's one of the reasons probably why we see Symbol playing this game against Avenge this early in the team match, because usually he's a player who comes out a little bit later, and also he's not the strongest against Protoss. Symbol has 25 maps played against Protoss, and he only won 11 of them. That leaves him with a 44% win ratio, but he seems to be Avenge's kryptonite. And he has the balls of steel here. I mean, he starts off with the hatchery first immediately, so definitely not afraid of being countered by his opponent.
Yeah. If you look at the rush distance on this map, as the crow flies, like flying distance from one hatch to the next, this is pretty small. But with the debris in the middle of the map, you have to take a pretty long path to walk across the map. So that may be one of the things he's counting on here. And also, Avenge already showed a gateway expand in Game 1, so he's expecting potentially he's going to do it in Game 2 as well, and that's exactly what we see here. So it turns out to be pretty good for Symbol so far.
Yeah, so far for Symbol, everything is going quite well. If your opponent starts with the gateway first, you can always get away with the hatchery first, and then you get a little bit of a better economy compared to the, starting with the spawning pool. And he gets a very, very fast third base as well. So really interesting. Symbol is playing this quite greedy against such an aggressive opening as the one that Avenge is using now.
Yeah. It just goes back to what you're saying about the balls of steel. He's really putting everything on the line here. And
that ad always kills me.
yeah, it always freaks me out. I get a little bit scared, but I'm drinking a HOT6 right now with that afro guy on it. I don't know what his story is, but he keeps his cell phone in his afro, so he's pretty cool in my book.
This is the spray eye guy.
Yeah.
He's tagging walls.
He's tagging walls. He's like graffitiing HOT6 all over everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, in this case with a third hatchery like this, it's all about really Avenge how he responds to that. He's already seen it. So he's going to have to figure something out here. He could take his own fast third Nexus and reply on this map. I would like that.
I mean, let's be honest here for a second. Avenge has to do something. There are two choices that he has. Either he's going for timing because he says like, alright, if you invest this many minerals in the early game into your third base and you're trying to play a greed like this, you will not be ready to defend against my timing. That's the first choice that he has. Second choice would be to just say, okay, I'm gonna get my third base up quite early as well, just because you will not be able to hit me with the timing yourself, so I have a little bit more freedom of what I could do. If he doesn't do anything and just continues down the road and wants to play the game that he intended to play originally, then he's most likely gonna find himself in a very peculiar situation later on when Symbol's economy and also the lava mechanics of those three hatcheries are gonna kick in.
Yeah.
So there has to be some kind of like adaptation to what he's doing. I could see the same strategy that he used in the last game. That is definitely something that he could pull off here, and we already have the robotics being built.
Exactly. Robo coming down very quickly after the two gates. In a very similar position as it is to the first game. Roachborn, though, coming down almost a full minute earlier than we saw last game. That's going to help him have a little bit more safety here. And he knows he needs that Roachborn if he's going to take a hatchery like this greedily and then get his drones later. That's the safer way to play it.
Exactly. If you get the third base this early as a Zerg player and you're up against the gateway first, there could always be, with the warp gate technology being done, another set of gateways being added. And then if suddenly with 3 or 4 gates the Protoss attacks your third base, there's nearly no way for you to hold it. So the Roachborn, as a result, comes up a little bit earlier, and that gives him the time that he needs to prepare accordingly. So smart move by Symbol here, and just him adapting a little bit to what he saw also in the last game. Keep in mind that Symbol was sitting on the bench when Avenge played the first game against Boom Boom, so he kind of has an inkling of what's going on.
Yeah, he hasn't seen the Robo, and this time it is going to be what we expected to see last game, or at least I was pretty sure we were going to see Warp Prism coming out with sentries, and that's exactly what we're going to see here. Sentries are going to kill the Overlord. All 4 of these are about to get lifted up in the Warp Prism. As soon as that Warp Prism comes out, they're even getting right next to the Robo in preparation. He's also chased the Zergling away, so the Warp Prism will not be scouted. This is really, really nice play by Avenge here. I'm loving it.
He's gonna run into an Overlord though if he continues on that path, and that's
but the Mothership Core, will it see it?
The Mothership Core will most likely not see it in time. The Overlord should... Oh, wow. He actually like just barely was able to skirt the edge here. No vision whatsoever for Symbol. This could be devastating.
This is a big
force
problem.
field on the ramp could potentially destroy him.
Here we go. 4 sentries out. Force field is down. Warp field engaged. And all he has to do is keep fighting here. He's even got the Mothership Core.
The Overlords are completely out of position. If he takes down the Overlords, then suddenly there would be a supply block. Symbol is in a lot of trouble here. The entire tech is in the main base.
I really like his choice to make these spine crawlers here. That's how desperate he is right now. The Queen under fire. Needs to turn those Zealots and have them fight a little bit more, though.
He's fighting with the Zealots, or at least he's trying to, but Symbol is doing a really good job just using all those choke points to his advantage. Where are those force fields? He needs to make sure that he doesn't miss a single one. The next round of Warwinds is already on the way, but the Spine Crawlers are nearly done.
Yeah, he goes for the Roachborn here. I don't even think that's a good choice. Now he turns away, and this is a great defense by Symbol here.
Big problem was the missing force field at the ramp. He missed that for a second, and the Zerglings were able to stream into the main base. And then all those sentries were under so much pressure. But just look at this. We have so much aggression coming out of Avenge, and Symbol so far with a great defense is able to just throw his opponent back, and he didn't lose too much. The question is now how successful is going to be the follow-up, but so far, Symbol with a great job. Yeah,
he even takes the center base here very, very aggressively right now, and he's going for the counterattack. I like Symbol's position incredibly much right now. Avenge is trying to transition into Colossi, but that was a great hold. He lost basically only Queens and a few Zerglings.
But at the same time, I still have to say that Symbol is not out of the waters just yet. because Avenge did not play this as an all-in. In the past, we've seen this strategy being used as an all-in, where you just try to have as many gateways as possible, and you go in and you try to muscle your way to victory. But in this case, we have back at home, double Immortal, and he also has the first Colossus now out. The second one is on the way. We have nearly halfway, or nearly completed already, the extended Thermal Lance upgrade. So he has a follow-up to this. And the second attack could be the devastating one. But Symbol's position is still, as we already pointed out, really good here. So if he doesn't completely misread what's happening, he should be able to react.
Yeah.
He does not have anything against the Colossi except for Roaches, though.
Exactly, that's a problem. He already has a ton of army units out right now. 21 Overlords allows him to build 30 Roaches. He has 30 Roaches on the map right now. That's so many. Versus just 2 Immortals in the Colossus and a few Sentries for Force Fields. So I'm really liking Symbol's chances here at holding this push, especially since he has 15 more Roaches on the way.
He needs a flank, but the numbers alone are so overwhelmingly in his favor that it would be really surprising if Avenge is able to take down the AZUBU Zerg player with this push. We talked about it. Symbol seems to be Avenge Kryptonite, and now the army has already been spotted and even more Roaches are being built.
Yeah, he should be able to hold this as long as he splits his Roaches well. There's only 2 Colossi here. He has a few Immortals to help out. The 3rd Colossus is on the way. It's all about the Force Fields here, but look at this. Already a pre-split by Symbol. He basically already made a concave here. There's no way for him to force field this entire army.
And here we go. He's moving in immediately with the Roaches. Nice force field so far. Really well placed. But there's so many Roaches, and not a lot of them were trapped, so the only thing that Symbol has to do is move back and wait a little bit.
Yeah, he just sits up here and waits for the Force Fields to disappear. This is a bit overzealous, I feel, coming up here. The Force Fields do block, though, and he's getting a decent trade here against the Roaches on the left. Beautiful Force Fields by Avenge, but now the Roaches are starting to break through.
Time is working in Symbol's favor, and the Roaches are on their way to victory. Another Colossus moves in, but a little bit too late, and this is game. Surrounding the entire army, taking down Sentries and Colossi alike. Great play by Symbol, and Avenge's aggression just not enough to give StarTale a second victory.
Absolutely not. Symbol looking great here. Wow. Really cool micro on that Colossus, though. Wow.
That was definitely, that was cute.
That's the way to go out for sure. Well, that's going to be it. Now doubling his supply. Symbol is going for the counterattack. Does not care about the Colossus and the Warp Prism, not even a little bit.
That was really well done. I mean, that was pretty cute, but he knows, of course, about the situation that he's in. He's 2 bases against 4, and he is up against this many Roaches. There's not a lot that he can do. Even proxy hatches are now being built, 4 of them, because Symbol knows very well that it's nearly impossible for him at this point to lose the game.
And he gets some revenge here for the Dancing Immortals and Zealots last game with this sort of manner hatcheries. And also, there's a celebration prize, so, you know, always want to celebrate when you can.
Yeah, he's definitely doing that. I mean, how many hatches do we have? 5 are being built at this point. There's the GG. And we have a tied score in the team match.
Nice little turnaround there. Very cool defense by Symbol. He played a lot safer than we saw Boom Boom do, and it paid off. Okay, and that hold in the main base was insane.
By the way, I do not know, maybe you do, but like, is that Mad Bull on the bench? On the StarTale bench?
Let me see, I didn't see.
Like, he's not listed anywhere. I do not know, like, I might just mistake him for someone else, but like, for the 3rd time we had a camera shot, and every single time it's like, this guy reminds me of someone, and the only name that I can come up with is Mad Bull. And I don't know, like...
It was rumored that he was going to join an ESF team, so it could be...
It's not listed anywhere, so it's like... I don't know.
It's also possible that...
we'll get another shot, I'm certain, but still, I'm really like, I was a little bit like looking at it, I was like, is that Mad Bull or isn't it?
Symbol's not going to get that $1,000,000 prize by being calm and quiet and nice with his team like he is there.
I think we already know that Symbol is not going to win the celebration.
Yeah, I don't think so. Unless Symbol changes the entire way he looks at the world and everything he's shown us in the past. He's like been waiting for this moment for years, that and finally there's a prize, he's going to go crazy. He's been saving his ceremonies.
You know, actually, like, I feel 2 of the guys who had the 3 guys that had the best chance of getting a celebration prize would have been, or maybe the 4. Super with the spin kick that he did last season. Keen, of course. If he would have pulled the glasses, I'm sure he would have gotten the $1,000. MC is not playing here, and we also don't have Hyun, who was always someone who prepared for a lot of like celebrations like this. So for the players that we don't see this season, who are in my opinion the favorites to actually get a prize like this, I'm really interested to see who's going to step up now that they are not in the league.
Yeah, I mean, we certainly don't have Ace anymore.
That's true. I mean, Ace, of course, like, he is just, yeah. Well, he's in the studio occasionally, so maybe.
He could celebrate for one of his teammates. You
Might
know,
happen.
like, Life's not really as big on celebrations. Usually Life wins a game and he just celebrates for him with like a t-shirt or something, like a big cheerleader, and someone Ace gets the money.
Puts like a life mask on.
That would be so funny.
Oh, well, as it is, we have now the first point on the scoreboard for Team AZUBU, and of course StarTale has to come up with an answer now, and we're gonna find out very soon who that is. They're going up against the Zerg player and the strongest player on the AZUBU bench for sure, so if they can take out Symbol, then they are off to a good start here into this match. The question, of course, now being who's gonna try and do that.
Yeah.
Most likely not gonna be Bomber. He's not a player who really loves Terran versus Zerg. It's his worst matchup.
I'm feeling like they might ZVZ it here. I could see that. And Life is the choice. Yeah, I like this a lot. One Zerg Titan for another. And Zerg versus Zerg, a matchup that can always put a dent in somebody who's a really, really strong player who just sometimes gets unlucky, or there's a lot of build order advantages you can get in ZVZ just by luck, by chance. So
yeah, Life is the one stepping into the booth, and my Mad Bull mystery still has not been resolved. And to be quite honest with you, I think he's actually sitting. The guy that I'm talking about is sitting. Yeah, he's sitting on the AZUBU bench, next to the coach in the black shirt. You can see that, right?
yeah, I think that is Mad Bull. I can't see very well because I have to turn around, but
He's not listed anywhere, so he's not listed in any kind of roster that they have. So I'm not sure. I might have missed like a transfer here, but.
yeah, I don't think he's officially part of the roster. But he's still around. I know he's still playing. He hasn't retired.
Yeah, the only thing is that we have a couple of new people that joined AZUBU just recently, and one of them is Nage, and I don't know Nage, so I have never seen the guy. There we go.
Yeah, I can't see his face clearly. You know, No, it's not him. It's not him. I saw his face there for just a second. It's not him. That's definitely not him.
Okay, because I couldn't get a clear shot at his face the entire time. That might be Nage, for all we know.
Yeah, it's definitely not Mad Bull, though. Now I see his face more clearly. I love this headset that Life's got. It looks so good. You know, custom-made headset by a sponsor. Always pretty awesome. And Life here definitely has the power. He has the... I think he has the ability to take Symbol out here, but if he doesn't, then Symbol's going to be very happy with that. Just, you know, Symbol's such a titan. You don't want him to just win one game. You want him to get 2 or 3 kills because he is your trump card.
Definitely. He's one of the heavy hitters on the team, and he's always one of those guys that you send out to get several wins. You're not happy if Symbol only defeats one opponent. And in this particular scenario, the same is also true for Life. He is in... Yeah, you can call it a bit of a slump here. Definitely not on the same level that he was when we were at the end of Wings of Liberty, and then also the beginning of Heart of the Swarm, where he played so well, especially in offline tournaments. Right now he has to prove himself here in the GSTL, and he has to prove himself in a Zerg versus Zerg against Symbol, of all people.
Yep. And the map he's chosen is Whirlwind, so he's going to eliminate a big map right off the bat. But because it's ZVZ he's chosen this map on, there's 2 things that are possible. One is that he's probably not going to be aggressive early on because the rush distance is further and it's a 4-player map, but he could be aggressive because Symbol wouldn't expect that on this map. So that's one of 2 things he could kind of do to meta his opponent a little bit.
With Life, you never really know what he's going to do. I mean, the guy sometimes starts things off with a 6 pool, a double hatch before pool. You never know. Life is always a little bit crazy.
Yep.
And that's the one thing that we really love about him. So we're going into the game just a few seconds here. This is game number 3 in the GSTL match between AZUBU and StarTale. Avenge taking the first min today against Boom Boom, but then being defeated himself by Symbol, who is now up against a fellow Zerg player. Has to deal with Life. Has to kind of come through for his team once again and show us that he is still one of the main contenders.
Yep, wants to prove himself here. A Zerg versus Zerg on Whirlwind. Symbol looking ready, not looking nervous.
Jumping into the game right now, ladies and gentlemen. ZVZ, Life versus Symbol at the GSTL 2013. Colin Wolf.
It's full force when I step to the fore. Bringing you that fuel source fresh from the core. Right mind, fitting strong. You like